Rex, we have a prop this morning. Bought this in North Hero, Vermont. It's called the train whistle. Made out of wood. Rex, this way. Come on. Let's go. What's that? Rex, you're not playing. We're supposed to be playing here. Come on. Anyhow, why would I bring a train whistle? And also, there's another prop right there. I'm trying to figure out a way to explain what happened yesterday with the 5 to 10 inches of rain and disastrous flooding in Rhode Island. Well, the reason I brought the train whistle, I can't believe there's a tanker coming through, is because of what's happening in New England right now. Now, that tanker's only going a few miles an hour, but if it were to try and slow down, it would take hundreds of yards because it's so big and so heavy. Well, the cold air that's coming out of southeastern Canada is like a train moving very slowly, or a tanker. Hello, pigeons. Yeah, we're all a bunch of pigeons trying to figure out this weather. So what happened, the cold air was just seeping into New England from the north, undermining incredibly warm and humid air that was already in place. Yesterday in New York City, it was 85 to 90 with a dew point in the 70s. Let's check the middle of the day in Worcester. It was in the low 60s with a dew point in the low 60s. And New Haven, Connecticut in the mid 80s with a dew point in the 70s. That is a clash of air masses. So the warm air was undermined, less dense air undermined by dense cold air coming in from Canada. And that's what wrung out probably daily record rainfalls. You can see a bunch of people up there on the deck. I know it's so hard to keep track of what I'm saying because so many things are going on at the same time all the time. That boundary is still here. The wind is going to pick up a little bit from the northeast. We do have a 3-foot swell out there at 11 seconds, so surf is building. And it's been just these series of very weak low pressure systems with the barometer around 10, 11 or so. But over the next 48 hours, the barometer is going to start falling in the center of a low pressure system that goes south of Long Island. And we may end up with what looks like a warm core storm south of Nantucket by Thursday morning. Will it get a name from the National Hurricane Center? It doesn't take named storms to create disasters. We had one of the slowest hurricane seasons in July and August on record, but we had record flooding. So weather is a result of differential heating of the Earth's surface by the sun, and the lower latitudes are going to vent that heat this time of year. Heat moves towards the pole, cool moves from the pole towards the equator, and that's what's created these record rainfalls. So even though we didn't have any named cyclones, we had a pretty disastrous summer from the tropics due to flooding rains without named storms, and that's what's happening in New England right now. Unfortunately, insurance companies treat named storms and non-named storms differently, which I think is ridiculous. So what goes on next? The Fore River Bridge goes up, otherwise that tanker would take it out because it wouldn't have time to slow down and stop. Actually, it would if it did it right now, plus having 2 tugboats attached helps. What do we do to stop the wave train in New England? Well, that low pressure system moves south in New England on Thursday and the sun comes back out. But until then, all bets are off on who gets the most precipitation. It's still coming. You look at the radar over the last 60 hours and how much rain has fallen, and you can see what I'm talking about. See how there's so much rain over the land, but none over the ocean? See, the problem there is Cape Cod and Cape Ann, you're not going to get that thermal boundary because the water temperature is 70 off of Boston. So with a water temperature of 70, you're not going to get that cold air in place, and that boundary just fades at the ocean. So that's the explanation for why it won't rain on Cape Cod and near the Gulf of Maine. Look at this worm headed for the sky on the side. We have an escapee from the worm farm. You get back down there. You're not going to enjoy life up in the sky. Your job is to go down there and make loam. I don't know where he's going. Anyhow, he just wanted me to make sure I got my 0.87, some of the least amount of rain in eastern Massachusetts, near the ocean. I can't believe I've got this much because we're so close to the ocean, which negates that boundary I was talking about. I hope you were able to follow this. It doesn't take a named storm to cause disasters, but we may end up with a named storm south of Nantucket. As for the named storms, Earl, the Enigma, now forecast to be way out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean next week. Danielle now forecast to hold together near Portugal, so still looking forward to perhaps some of those Nazir surf shots from those people surfing those giant waves. And then there may be a couple of other named small cyclones also in the central Atlantic, but again, no named storms for the Northeast. But if you look at that map for next Wednesday, when yesterday Earl was supposed to be north of Bermuda, now it's on the other side of the Atlantic, you do see a connection from the Bahamas into New England. So the tropical connection will go on and more rains will occur in the United States. We will have more disastrous flooding, but just without the wind. Have to go to a funeral this morning, so I think I'll just leave you with this. Gone way too young. Sorry to bring it down like that at the end.